Hello and welcome. This is the Disability Law Show. Good to have you along. John Scholes alongside Sivan Tumarkin, co-founding partners Samfiru, Tumarkin LLP, the most positively reviewed disability law firm in this land. If you're in Ontario or BC or Alberta, you're probably familiar with Sivan and his team. You've seen the TV show, this one, and you've listened to the radio shows as well. We'll give you more contact about how to reach out to Sivan throughout the show, and a bunch of different websites that are really handy for you moving forward, if only to educate yourself. That's why we do it, right? First of all, 1-855-821-5900, help@disabilityrights.ca. That is the email address we refer to anytime during the show and otherwise. On the show today, Sivan, a good one. Important facts you need to know if you've been cut off long-term disability, LTD. That is coming up in just a bit, but we always like to warm our plates and get our appetite going, Sivan, with Little Week That Was, something that you've been working on lately. What would that be this week?
So, John, I came prepared to talk about an interesting case, but, you know, it's interesting because just as we're about to start recording the show, I got an email from a viewer of the show, and I want to read it out and then answer the question that he has. This is in real time. So this comes from Tony, and he writes, 2 weeks ago, while watching TV, I came across your disability information session. Amazing. It is so informative and provides excellent advice. I look forward to your 30-minute session every Saturday morning. Thank you very much. I have a question seeking your advice. Can you please advise if an individual who is currently on LTD can approach the insurance company requesting a lump sum payment versus monthly payments? If yes, what approach can the person take to hopefully obtain maximum benefit, dollar value payout? FYI, the LTD recipient is 57 years old. The policy provides coverage until the age 65. Recipient is totally disabled and will be until age 65 and beyond. Thank you very much for your advice and guidance. Much appreciated. So again, I'm just reading from my phone here.
Disclaimer, he's not an employee of the law firm. No. It's not a planted email.
I just before we started, I said to John, I said, let me just read this because this actually comes up quite often. Cool. So you have somebody who is totally disabled. There's no question they're never returning to the workforce again. Right. And they want to know, you know, I'm getting a monthly benefit. Can I approach the insurance company and ask them for just a lump sum? You know, I have 8 years left on the policy. Why not just ask them, just pay me everything right now?
That's what they're going to ask.
They're going to ask exactly that. and here's the problem. And I've seen this time and time again where people are contacting me, and it makes sense. It's logical. Like, insurance company, just pay me. I'll even take a discount, but just pay me. If you reach the insurance company and you ask them that, what most likely will happen is they will start taking a very closer look maybe, at your claim, at your file than they've had before, and what they may do is it may attract unwanted attention. They may think maybe you have a job a job lined up. Maybe you're just trying to squeeze something from them so that you can go and just leave the country, retire somewhere. So the point is this: you can approach them, but it's dangerous because you are going to attract this attention. If you are going to approach them, though, if you've set your mind to doing it, you need to really lay out the rationale. You need to explain to them in a lot of detail. I mean, I had a lady that was a lawyer herself that is suffering from a progressively debilitating disease, and the reality is she's probably going to be dead in 10 years or so, and she's in her 30s. And she said, listen, it would be really helpful to me if I was able to get a lot of that money now, at least for the next 10 years, because then I can finance the medications that I need. And so I helped her with that, but that's a very unique type of a case. Oftentimes what happens, the insurance company is the one that contacts you. They're the ones who are offering you a lump sum payment, and then we can review that and tell you if it makes sense to accept that payment or not. But if you are the one seeking to go to the insurance company to ask for that lump sum payment, be very careful. You may not like the attention that you may bring to yourself. That's my advice. Yeah,
you're kind of putting a spotlight on yourself, and then you might start investigating. There might be, people watching.
Surveillance, whatever.
Surveillance.
Yeah, and it's not to say that somebody is trying to defraud the company. Right. I mean, it does make sense logically if you think about it. This person is 57 years old. He must think to himself, listen, insurance company, I'll give you a discount. Don't pay me monthly for the next 8 years. I'll take 5 years worth of benefits. But the mere fact that you have asked for payment up front for what they otherwise would pay you monthly for the next 8 years or 5 years, it shines a light on your claim, and it's a light you don't necessarily want to shine in your claim at this point in time.
There's a website called pocketemploymentlawyer.ca, as the title says, has a lot to do with employment law, but there is a nice robust section in that website, free and anonymous, by the way, That has to do with disability law. Why? Because as we always say in the show, Sivan, there's a lot of crossover between the two, right?
Tons. We have people who are having issues with their employers. They've been let go from their job. They're being harassed, constructively dismissed, whatever. But at the same time, they're having issues with their insurance company. Or vice versa. They're on LTD, and now they've been let go from their job. And so they need that advice. And that's our specialty, employment law and disability law. And so this Pocket Employment Lawyer is a tool. It's a free website that allows you to just input a few key pieces of information without identifying who you are. And then that tool will basically give you the information that you need. It will give you the answer to your question. And it works both on the employment side and on the disability side. It's completely free. It's anonymous. If you want to connect with us afterwards, you can just click the button. But if you don't, close the browser. We will not know that you were there.
It's interesting you say there's a lot of crossover, because as soon as you said that, and I'm thinking, one of the calls we've often had in emails, people saying, I've been on LTD, but I lost my job. Is that going to cut my LTD off because I'm no longer with the company?
Yeah.
Separate things, right? But people don't know that.
People don't know that. And in fact, we've had situations where people go to an employment lawyer that doesn't have any expertise or knowledge about LTD, and they're on LTD themselves. So they're on long-term disability, they're getting payments, they've been let go, they're getting the severance, right? They're very happy because their lawyer did an amazing job, got them $50,000 in severance. Yeah. Boom. The insurance company gets a hold of this and they say, well, guess what? There's a provision in your policy that says that we get credit for any severance that you receive. Suddenly the lawyer got paid, the insurance company got a benefit, and you are out of luck. So again, you want to make sure you go to a firm, a law firm, where you have lawyers that deal with those two areas of law, disability law and employment law, because they do overlap.
You can reach out simply with an email as well, help@disabilityrights.ca, right? We'll get to one, Sivan. I know you'll want to talk about this. Yasmin writes in, says, I've been going back and forth with my current lawyer about my LTD claim after my benefits were cut off over a year ago. I was told that he could negotiate a settlement with the insurance company, but nothing has been done. I don't think he's even started a legal claim. Is it supposed to take this long? I know you love this part when it takes.
I love this part, but I don't love it for the reason that I see people in pain and I see people getting the wrong advice. Our motto, I'm a fan of ancient history, as you know, John, and there's an ancient quote, and I won't say the Latin here, but the translation is, if you wish for peace, prepare for war. And insurance companies understand, by having dealt with us for many, many years, that we will go to war on behalf of our clients. We prefer peace, but we will go to war. And so when you have a lawyer that doesn't have expertise in this area and just comes to the insurance company and says, please pay my client, what do you think the insurance company is going to do? They're going to laugh. They're going to draw it out. When you come to us and we tell you you have a case, we are going to hit the insurance company hard. We're going to start the legal process, because then it's going to start costing them money. They have to defend that case. Not only do they have to defend that case, but at some point in the future, if they don't come to the table and pay our clients what they're owed, they're going to face a judge. And a judge is going to order them to pay what they ought to pay. So again, if you are dealing with a lawyer, if you have an issue, look, we're not the only lawyers around. Okay? There are many other good lawyers, but there are many other bad lawyers, and there are many lawyers who dabble. And you want to stay from lawyers who dabble. If you have a lawyer that says, I do real estate and criminal law and family law, gone are the days where you can be a jack of all trades when it comes to law, just like in medicine. Yeah. You don't have a heart doctor that's also a dentist, that's also, whatever other doctor, ear, nose, and throat specialist. Yeah. Same kind of thing here. So to me, Yasmin is not being serviced properly in terms of her legal claim. And frankly, she says, my lawyer has been dealing with this for a year. No legal claim has started. I can't recall the last time we had an LTD claim in our office that took longer than a year to resolve. Usually it's within a matter of months.
Never mind start. Yeah, I don't see the benefit of not starting a legal claim to the lawyer themselves. What's the benefit of?
No, and again, it goes back to that quote. You wish for peace, prepare for war. The insurance company has to get hit. They have to understand, they understand force. They understand when their back is against the wall. If your lawyer is not willing to take that step, if your lawyer is not willing to represent you and use all the tools that the law allows us to use, right? Nothing illegal, it's what the law allows us. We have tools that are at our disposal. Then that lawyer is not doing, in my opinion, what they ought to be doing to advance your case.
Coming up here, what you need to do if you've been cut off LTD, that is on the way. First, a short break, 1-855-821-5900 and disabilityrights.ca, the website. You can use that anytime as well. And we'll continue Disability Law Show. People think contractors aren't owed severance. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. Many contractors are actually employees and are entitled to full severance pay. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca. How do you force insurance companies to pay long-term disability claims?
Insurance companies deny legitimate claims all the time. They're playing the odds. They know that most people are just going to walk away.
Your insurer may ignore you, they may even ignore your doctors, but they can't ignore us.
We know how insurance companies work. We know their weaknesses. We know how to use the legal process to force them to pay you what you're owed.
Go to disabilityrights.ca. Discover your rights, fight back, and get what you're owed. People think you are only owed 2 weeks' pay when you lose your job. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. You may be owed much more than 2 weeks per year. Don't settle for less. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Okay, welcome back. Thanks for hanging around with us through that short break. Sivan Tumarkin right there, the co-founding partner, Samfiru Tumarkin LLP. Reach out anytime, 1-855-821-5900. John Scholes here. I want to get to this as well. Important facts you need to know if you've been cut off LTD. Fact number one, Sivan, talk about this. You do not have to accept a denial of benefits or benefits being cut off.
No, you do not, absolutely. And I know this is back to basics for many individuals, but John, I'm telling you time and time again, people call me after they watched the show, or someone told them to call me that's watched the show or heard our radio shows.
Yep.
And I explained to them, look, the insurance company and you are in a contractual relationship. The insurance company hasn't paid you or is obligated to pay you as a favor. There is a contract in place. That's the LTD policy. And it could be that the contract is between your employer and the insurance company, and you are an insured beneficiary under that plan. Whatever it is, they must abide by what that policy says, by what the contract says. And so when the insurance company denies your claim unjustly, when they give you an excuse, some kind of an excuse, and it doesn't feel right, it doesn't seem right, and you're questioning it, you should not walk away. This is when you contact us, because it costs nothing to get this information from us. We will look at the policy, we will look at the denial letter, we will look at the medical documents that you've submitted to them, and we will tell you if in fact you have a case, if the insurance company is correct or not. In some cases they are, John. Some cases I have seen insurance companies, I know it's surprising to some viewers here, but sometimes insurance companies are correct in taking the positions that they do. For example, many policies end at age 65. They will not pay benefits beyond that. Whether that's a human rights issue or not, it's irrelevant. The point is, these LTD policies oftentimes end at that age. And so when somebody gets to that age and the insurance company says we're not paying anymore, the insurance company is correct vis-a-vis the policy.
Right.
But in many other cases, we tell people, look, you have rights and we can enforce those rights. Do not walk away. It's money that is owed to you. That's the key message here.
People sometimes feel slimy. They feel like they're getting something they shouldn't be getting, but the insurance company's not doing you a solid. These benefits have been paid, but people can't get their head around that. They just think, oh, I don't want to make a claim. I feel like a dirtbag.
Yeah, but think about that for a second. These insurance companies have been paid premiums.
Right.
They've collected millions, if not billions, of premiums over the years from individuals like yourself, from the employers, from whoever else. Now when it comes time for you to call them up on that, to say, I'm in a bad spot because of some illness or injury, for them to simply leave you out, that is slimy. Yeah. And you have rights. That's the key thing. You have rights. If you choose to walk away and give them that gift of the money that's owed to you and your family, good for you. I would not do that. Mm-hmm. Many people I speak with would not do that. If you want to do that, sure, if you think they're a charity.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're not. They're keeping that money and they're giving it to their shareholders.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
They'll be okay. Important fact number two is this. Claimants are often cut off at the 2-year mark of LTD and employment and all different types of things you talk about. That 2-year mark is key, right?
2-year mark is key.
Yeah.
The vast majority of LTD policies out there, to get LTD, for the first 2 years, you have to demonstrate that you cannot do the essential tasks of your own occupation. It's called the own occupation test. So as long as your doctors write down and explain why it is that you cannot work in your own occupation, what your disability is, whether it's psychological or physical or a mixture of both, you should be able to get that LTD for the first 2 years. Beyond the 2-year mark, though, John, the test changes. The test for total disability at that point becomes, can you do any occupation for which you're suited for? So if you're a surgeon, if you're a marketing executive making $100,000 a year or whatever, they cannot tell you to start, a job at Tim Hortons at that point. Nothing against Tim Hortons. I actually drink Tim Hortons and Starbucks and all those. I don't discriminate. The point is, unless you can do another job that pays you commensurate income at that 2-year mark, commensurate income being 65% of your pre-disability income, the insurance company must continue to pay you LTD. But many of them don't. Many of them tell claimants, nope, you don't qualify. They're sending them to assessments. Yeah. They're getting reports that say that, you're not that disabled, you can do this or that. But many individuals are in fact not able to. And many people are told, sorry, your policy, it stops at the 2-year mark. And that's not true. It's not true. If you're 40 years old, 50 years old, 63 years old, and you've been on LTD for 2 years, you're 64 now, if you are unable at that point in time, at the 2-year mark, from working another occupation that pays you commensurate income, well, guess what? They have to pay you until 65, period.
How do they land at that commensurate income, 65%? Is that basically what you would be paid for your long-term disability? Is that kind of an equivalent? Yeah,
that's basically it. Many policies actually spell it out. We have case law from judges who have looked at this because it's not actually 65% unless it's specified as that. A lot of times it's you're looking at various factors and you look at different cases. There's cases where the judges have said, no, it's actually 70%. So it really does vary. But the point is this. Unless you can do another job that pays you approximately what your LTD monthly amount is, right, you should be continuing to get LTD beyond the 2-year mark, period.
Third fact is this: you will generally be told in advance if you're on claim that your benefits will be cut off, but don't just simply say, okay, thanks, I'll wait. No, don't wait to be cut off, right? Head it off at the pass.
So, John, my background is personal injury. Years ago, I used to do personal injury. And of course, if you're injured in a car accident, God forbid, in a slip and fall, you're injured. You don't know in advance it's going to happen. Right. Well, with LTD, it's very, very different. If you've been on LTD for a month, for a year, for 5 years, and the insurance company says we're going to cut you off, they typically, in pretty much every case I've ever seen, they don't tell you, hey, guess what, John? We've stopped your payments as of last month. No, they give you a heads up. They say, look, you're approaching the 2-year mark. Look, we don't think that you should be getting it beyond 3 months from now. Right. They give you a heads up of when the payments will cease. Do not ignore that. That train will get to that cliff and will go over. You can't beg them to change that date. You can try and appeal, and that's going to be useless, I can tell you. So the point is this: what do? You don't wait until you're cut off. You don't wait until there's no money coming in and you have bills that are piling high. You contact us immediately when you are told that your benefits will end in a week, in a month, in a year. I had a case out of Ottawa years ago where this individual, very high-ranking person in the government, was making a lot of money, had psychological issues, very, very difficult ones. The insurance company told them a year in advance that he would be cut off, and there was no foundation for it. There was no medical basis. We started that claim right there and then, even though the insurance company was already paying him as they went. We resolved the claim before he was even cut off. So there was never a period of time where he had no money coming in. So again, if you are told in advance you're going to be cut off, you want to contact us now. You do not want to wait until it's too late, until the insurance company has already, cut the cord.
Contact, by the way, since Sivan mentioned it, 1-855-821-5900 and help@disabilityrights.ca. Final fact for this segment is going to be this, Sivan: the claimant should continue to receive LTD benefits if their doctor says they're unable to work.
Yeah, and we often have what we call battle of the doctors, battle of the medical professionals. The person gets sent to the insurance company's doctor for an assessment. Sometimes not even. Sometimes the insurance company just has a doctor in the background assessing and reviewing the file without even meeting the person. And they crank out a report that says the treating doctors are wrong or something to that effect, and we're going to stop your benefits. No. If your doctors say that you are disabled, you're disabled, and you are still under coverage, in other words, you're not 65 years old, let's say, and the policy expires, no, your benefits should continue. And if they don't, you give us a call. You contact us. You do not want to be in that position where you're fighting the insurance company by yourself, because it's an uneven match. James Fireman, my partner, likes to say, when we get involved, we don't even the playing field for you. We tilt it in your favor. Because insurance companies, we got to put them on the defensive. If they're not on the defensive, they're not going to pay you. It's that simple. But there are ways to force them. And we know those ways. We've worked with them in the past. We now work for individuals, and we do this day to day. This is all we do.
You know, you mentioned with that last point about seeing a doctor from the insurance company. Number one, that kind of smacks of bias to me. I don't know why, because I imagine they're paying for these doctors. And plus, if it's a doctor who's, you may have been treated for 6, 7 years with your own medical team, and if this person's either just seeing you once for an hour, or as you said, they're checking out a paper file, how does that have any credence with the decision going forward? You're
absolutely right. But people don't know that. People are stuck in a situation where the insurance company has sent them to one of their experts. You're right, the insurance company is paying for that opinion. And by the way, they're choosing that particular doctor because presumably they've worked with that doctor before, and they've gotten opinions that favor the insurance company before. And I'm talking now as somebody who used to work for insurance companies and dealt with many of these defense doctors. But what you need to understand is that if this ever went to court, and most of these cases never ever go to court, but insurance companies play the odds here. They understand that you don't know this as an individual out there. They understand that if on the one hand the judge hears from your own doctors, and on the one hand there is this hired gun for the insurance side, it goes in your doctor's favor. Because the credibility of your doctors any day of the week will trump the credibility of the doctor from the insurance company. Again, fact specific, it depends on the case, but in my experience, insurance companies are very much aware of this, and they are playing the odds that you don't know this, and they can cut you off and you'll walk away.
And newsflash, their doctors aren't always doctors, are they?
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll term it as a consultant. I'm not sure what that means, but...
Sometimes they're not doctors, sometimes they choose the wrong people. You have a psychological issue and they'll send you to a family doctor, as opposed to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And this is what we do, right? When we pick apart the insurance company's case and we show them their weaknesses, that's what gets them to understand, to come to the table, open up that checkbook, and write a nice figure of money that goes to our client. Yeah. Because we understand sort of those tricks of the trade, and they understand that we understand. So it's something that people out there need to know, that it is an uneven fight. It's an imbalance of power when it's just you versus the insurance company. That gets rectified once we're in the picture.
MyDisabilityQuestions.com, that is the website built for you to ask your questions. We will go there after a short break, though. Phone number 1-855-821-5900 at disabilityrights.ca.
People think you have to sign back a severance offer by a deadline. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. Deadlines are used as a pressure tactic. Make sure the offer is fair before you sign. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Can insurance companies deny long-term disability claims for mental illness?
When you're suffering from a mental health disability, insurance companies just don't understand. But we do.
They can absolutely not force you back to work. If your doctors say you are not ready and you know you're not ready, they cannot make you go back to work.
If you have a mental health disability and your claim is denied, don't give up. Give us a call and let us fight for you.
Go to disabilityrights.ca. Discover your rights, fight back, and get what you're owed. People think you aren't owed severance pay if you are fired for a reason. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. Most for-cause terminations are false, and you are still owed full severance. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca.
Welcome back, and thanks for hanging around. Last few minutes of the show, Disability Law Show. Anytime you want to reach out to Sivan and his team, it's really simple. Try the phone first, 1-855-821-5900, or a website that was crafted, built, anonymous, and free for you to use anytime, MyDisabilityQuestions.com. You can take that for a spin as well. And from it, Sivan, we got Will writing in, says, how can I increase the chances of the insurance company approving my claim for long-term disability benefits?
Well, we're going to assume for a second that Will is asking on behalf either of himself or someone else, but it's the outset of the claim. So we're not dealing with a denial, which is usually the topic here, a denial of an LTD claim. It's how can you increase the chances of applying for long-term disability and then getting that claim approved, because some of them, as we've talked before, John, get declined, right? They get rejected and denied. And so what I tell people is, look, first of all, understand that insurance companies are paper machines. They absorb paper, they review paper, they make their decisions based on paper. And this paper is the medical reports, medical documents submitted on your behalf by your doctors. So the first thing is you got to make sure that you have a doctor or doctors or people who are treating you, psychologists, for example, that are on your side. It doesn't help you if you make an application for LTD and your family doctor or your psychologist says, I don't believe this person is disabled from working. I mean, that's a sure way of getting your application declined. So you got to make sure that you do have that conversation with your doctor and that they're on board in that, you should be applying for LTD and that they'll support you being off work for a certain amount of time. Second thing you need to do is you need to get that paper from them. You need to make sure that they help you with the application. There's usually a section where they write in what their diagnosis, prognosis, all that kind of stuff. And it needs to be more than just a sick note, more than just, John, I'm writing you a note saying you're disabled from working and that's it. It has to be more robust than that. And you mentioned the website ltdfaq.ca. It's the website we created. There's actually a memo there for individuals out there for free. You can download it that actually gives you guidance, or to your doctor it gives guidance in terms of what needs to be in that letter that you're submitting to the insurance company, either when you first apply for LTD or subsequently. And so that's important. And the third thing, which really should have been the first thing I should have said, but it's really key here, be honest. Be honest, be truthful, don't exaggerate, don't underreport your symptoms, but don't overreport your symptoms and limitations. Be honest. I tell people all the time, if you're honest with the insurance company, that's your best shield, it's your best defense. If they decline your claim, we can go after them. It's a lot more difficult to fight the insurance company when the individual that comes to me has lied about something, because then I have to explain that. I have to provide context. Sometimes it's a misrepresentation that's very honest. But again, you don't want to be in that position. So be honest, be truthful. The truth will help you get that LTD claim. And if you're declined, after being truthful, after giving everything from your doctors, we can help you.
Will, appreciate you reaching out. Want to slide into an email here for the last segment of the show, or last few minutes of the show. This one from Arjun. Sivan, again, help at disabilityrights.ca, says, I've been on LTD for a year and a half, and the insurer has initiated a change of definition evaluation. I requested a copy of the disability contract so that I can see all the requirements I need to meet to maintain my status, but my insurance adjuster has refused to provide me with a copy. Is there something more I can do?
Yes, absolutely. And again, I'm going to mention that website that we discussed, ltdfaq.ca. We have a lot of memos on there. They're very short, relatively speaking, but they're written in plain language. There's no legalistic expressions or anything like that. It's simply informational. And there is a memo there that specifically tells you what the law is in every jurisdiction where we have offices, Ontario, Alberta, BC. And you can actually see the legislation online where it says that you are entitled to a copy of the insurance contract. And so you can throw that in the face of the adjuster and say, no, I've gone to this website, here's the legislation, you're going to have to give it to me. I am concerned a bit, John, because, Arjun is basically saying that the insurer has initiated the change of definition evaluation. He's talking about that change of definition of total disability. Right. Usually at the 2-year mark, between own occupation and any occupation. It's a red flag for me that the insurance adjuster is refusing to provide a copy of the policy. And so Arjun needs to be on guard, which I think he is. And I would tell Arjun that, look, go to that website, ltdfaq.ca, get the information you need on how to get your policy. If you're still experiencing issues, give me a call, email me directly. We will help you. We will make the demand on your behalf if you want from the insurance company. But the point is, they have to give it to you. And if you're disabled and they decide to cut you off, to deny your claim, to tell you that at the change of definition date, your payments will cease, you have to take action and you need to let us know so we can help you.
How does that benefit the adjuster by keeping it close to their chest?
It doesn't, John. Right. They're putting up walls.
Why?
Because they know people get tired and frustrated. It's a technique, right? They shake you off claim by showing you that there is this power imbalance. And this is the purpose of the show, is to show people that there is no power imbalance if you educate yourself and if you get the help and advice that you need, period.
So reach out, Arjun, well, you did already through email, but make that phone call and go to ltdfaq.ca as well. And that's for you watching the show. Lots of information there. It's absolutely free. As Sivan said, you can reach out anytime. But one more time, 1-855-821-5900. Email is help@disabilityrights.ca, and then disabilityrights.ca, the website, information, free, anonymous, also links to our long-running radio shows across the country as well. We'll catch you next time on the Disability Law Show.